Hey guys, Skizma here. Yep, I finally bought a mic and decided to use my voice. It's a little nerve-wracking, but necessary for the content I want to put out. There are plenty of tutorials out there on how to drop slide, but hardly any that break down what's actually going on. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the mechanic, and later I'm going to show side-by-side clips of some drop slides comparing their travel distance pre and post patch, so make sure to stick around till the end. I'm sure most of us already know, but just in case, drop sliding or ramp boosting is a movement technique you can perform in Halo Infinite by sprinting and either jumping or dropping onto a slanted surface such as a ramp, stairs, or hill, followed by sliding and then jumping to maintain your momentum. Doing so will allow you to cover large distances quickly. I used to believe that landing at the base of a slope where it meets the floor would grant an unexplained extra boost, which I called hitting the sweet spot. However, there is an explanation and it's quite simple. By landing at this spot, you're essentially hitting a perfect drop slide by making sure you're airborne for the most time possible, therefore maximizing your velocity going into the slide. We can see this by measuring the distance between the initial jump of a normal and perfect drop slide, then compare that to their respective landing distance. Think of it like hitting a perfect reload from the Gears games. As I mentioned before, there are two ways to hit a drop slide, by sprint jumping onto a slope or by sprinting off of a ledge and dropping onto the slope. Let's look at a couple of examples on Streets and Recharge to determine if one of these methods is superior to the other. Here we can see that the drop slide from running off of planters gives the furthest distance even though the jump from outside of arcade has a greater fall height. But why is this? I'll explain in a minute, but first let's look at our other example. This time around, the runoff of Sneaky is beat by the jump from Sneaky since the fall height is much greater here, unlike the previous example where this was only slightly higher. Although you don't go much further and are airborne for a lot longer, so the risk reward here isn't really worth it. Now, the science behind all of this comes down to how the game handles velocity, so let's break it down. In this first comparison, we see that jumping from a surface lower than the ledge shows the downward velocity is nearly identical since both players land at the exact same time. However, jumping from the same surface as a ledge lets us hit the ground slightly faster, meaning the velocity is higher here. And finally, we see that jumping from somewhere higher than the ledge gives even more velocity since we hit the ground faster than before. Basically, the longer you're airborne, the higher your velocity will be, with the only exception being that sprinting off of a ledge gives you immediate downward velocity compared to jumping, which has a slow buildup of velocity due to the floating moon jump that Halo's always been known for. This is why the Planters drop slide from the Streets example is the best of the three. But how come the jump from Sneaky and the Recharge example only gets you slightly further than the runoff if the incoming velocity is higher? This is likely due to the nerf that drop slides received with the launch of Season 2. In the patch notes, 343 stated that velocity gained from landing into a slide on a ramp has proportional reduction based on fall height. So yeah, remember this crazy slide from my intro? This is what it looks like now. While I do wish 343 left the movement tech untouched, I do understand why they'd want to dial back drop slides considering how easy they are compared to something like curb slides or even the elusive new snap slide. Take a look at these comparisons from Season 1 and 2 to see just how much it was nerfed. At the end of the day, how you approach a drop slide will vary depending on each scenario, but if you're near a ledge with a slope below it, sprinting off will likely be the best method. It also keeps your time spent defenseless at a minimum since you avoid the time being airborne during a jump. If you like this type of analytical content and want to see more videos like this, let me know by liking the video and leaving a comment down below. And if you're feeling generous, consider dropping me a sub. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.